Carlson, it feels right to be alive. Hey, Chicago Cubbies baseball YouTube fans, hope all you guys are having a great Tuesday, a great Wednesday Eve, a great Hump Day Eve. I'm really, tonight's episode is not going to be that long. We mainly only have two things to discuss. We are going to discuss the two Chicago Cub players that were signed to a minor league deal yesterday. So we will get into all of that, guys. And then after that, we are going to talk about particularly one opponent that the Chicago Cubs would play this year in spring training. And that team will play at Sloan Park for the very first time ever. Okay, guys, but before we get into tonight's episode, I do want to ask you guys a question. Since we are getting closer every single day to 2026 Chicago Cubs spring training or big league camp or even minor league camp, if there's anything in particular you guys want me to talk about regarding Chicago Cub baseball, definitely let me know down below in the comment section. And also, before we get into tonight's episode, my brother Casey just wanted to say, guys, that he is excited for the upcoming 2026 season. Minor league camp will begin in about 3 to 4 weeks. There are already about 50 to about 75 minor league players in the Cubs organization that are already down at Sloan Park getting ready. At the moment, they have no access to the clubhouse because the minor league complex for the Chicago Cubs in Mesa, Arizona will be used at big league camp for pitchers and catchers reporting. So my brother Casey has no access to the locker rooms yet. He says that with the facilities are getting used by like the top prospects and all that. He's in the past maybe week or two, he's probably had at least only one day of BP, and the rest has been fielding drills, catching drills, and workout drills with some of the training staff down there. So I just wanted to give you that little update and all of that. Personally, even though I'm his older brother, I should not be saying this, but people have been asking me where I think my brother Casey will begin the 2026 season at. He played the entire 2025 season in AA Knoxville. I expect him to probably go there and probably spend the entire season there. Again, guys, my brother Casey is not known for his hitting. Ever since getting drafted by the Cubs back in 2021, it's been very difficult for him at the plate. His batting average overall in the minor leagues is barely over a 200. Obviously, he's a left-handed hitter. He doesn't hit for power. He doesn't hit a lot of home runs. He is known for his great and awesome catching ability. So I just wanted to give you guys at least a little update on my brother Casey, guys. But yeah, he's at the Cubs complex, and I can't wait to see him in March in spring training for minor league camp. Okay, Chicago Cub YouTube baseball nation and fans, now that we got my brother Casey out of the way, no offense, Casey, I love you. Can't wait to see you in 2026 Cubs minor league spring training and minor league camp. But now we are going to talk about some of the newest additions to the Chicago Cubs. These are players that were signed to a minor league contract by the Cubbies. with a invite to big league spring training. Number one, we have a newest addition to the outfield, particularly center field, and it is Dylan Carlson. Now, some of you may recognize that name. Dylan Carlson has played at the big league level for two MLB teams. The first team was one of the division rivals of the Cubbies, of the St. Louis Cardinals. When he was with St. Louis, he was with the Cardinals at the MLB level for 3 straight seasons. And only one of the 3 seasons, he was considered really an everyday player with St. Louis. Then, bippity boppity boo, he ended up getting traded to the Baltimore Orioles, and he spent the majority of last year at the big league level with the Baltimore Orioles. However, despite him being at the MLB level with Baltimore for over 100 games last year, he only started 58 of those games. So he was definitely not an everyday player. He kind of became the everyday center fielder last year for the Baltimore Orioles when Cedric Mullins got traded. Now, when he was with Baltimore at the big league level last year, the one thing he could really not do was produce at an elite level. He really is a guy that didn't hit good for batting average, struggled at the plate. He was what I would call a pretty good center fielder, and he is a switch hitter, might I add. So, really, what the thing about Dylan Carlson is his batting average was really low, but his on base was like really high. So the good news about him is he actually gets on base a lot. But the biggest problem is that low batting average, okay? Now remember, guys, when he was with the St. Louis Cardinals, he played really well. And a matter of fact, Dylan Carlson's career against the Chicago Cubbies is pretty impressive. He has a .280 batting average with a .408 on-base percentage. That is only against none other than the Chicago Cubs, and he actually has 3 long balls against the Cubs. He has stolen 10 bases against the Cubs, and he has only been caught 3 times. So, you know what? Even though that batting average may be low, at the exact same time, guys, he can produce. Now, I know you guys are going to say, well, we got PCA in center field, and we got some other guys that can patrol the outfield. And don't get me wrong, you are 1,000% correct. I'm saying this, guys. Remember, Dylan Carlson was signed to a minor league deal by the Chicago Cubs yesterday. So the good news for him, even though he's on a minor league deal, is he will get an invite to big league camp. He will get the opportunity to make the 2026 Chicago Cubs opening day roster, guys. And if he ends up making the 2026 Chicago Cubs opening day roster, the interesting news about it is he will get paid $3 million by the Chicago Cubs, and that is only if he makes it to the big league level on opening day. He will not get that $3 million if he starts the season in AAA and then eventually gets called up. He has to make the opening day roster for the Chicago Cubs in order to get that $3 million. So there is at least a little pressure on Mr. Dylan Carlson, guys. And I want to know from you guys, I want to know what you guys think of this signee. I want to know if you guys are a fan of it or not. So let me know down below in the comment section, guys. You know what? He's going to get a fair opportunity. You know, he can, even though he has a low batting average, guys, he can still produce. at the big league level, which is what the Cubs want. And another thing I think that's really good about this signing is now with him signed, even though it's a minor league deal, these Chicago Cubs have options. Okay, they have a lot of options. I think, other than PCA, they at least got 2 options for center field. And I'm not counting PCA. Okay, and then Dylan Carlson, like I also said, he is a switch hitter. Okay, and I know, we got Ian Happ that's a switch hitter. And the Cubs had a couple switch hitters last year. They had Ian Happ, they had Ruel Brujan, who eventually got released. Then we got Carlos Santana, so really, it's a really unique role that he brings to the table as a switch hitter, and maybe that will help him a little bit. But, the biggest competition with Dylan Carlson is not going to be Pete Crow Armstrong. It's actually going to be the Cougar of Kevin Alcantara. I think that is going to be the fight. I think it is going to be between Kevin Alcantara and Dylan Carlson for the backup role in center field. I don't think we're going to, the everyday center fielder for the Cubs probably going to be Pete Crow Armstrong, but the backup role is going to be either Kevin Alcantara or Dylan Carlson. So now that we got that out of the way, let me ask you guys a question. Who do you think will get the backup spot for center field for the Chicago Cubs on opening day? Do you think it will be the Cougar of Kevin Alcantara or the newest addition to the Chicago Cubs, even though it's a minor league deal, of Dylan Carlson? One of those 2 men will get the backup role. So who is it going to be, in your opinion? Okay, I know it's still January, and I know we have not even began big league camp yet. But I want to know, who do you got to be in the backup role for center field for the Chicago Cubs on opening day in 2026? All right, Chicago Cub baseball YouTube fans, we are going to end this episode with something very, very exciting. I said that we would talk about a team that is going to play the Chicago Cubs at Sloan Park for the very first time ever. So before I get into that team's name, the past couple of years, the Cubs end spring training at home at Sloan Park, always against a team from the Grapefruit League in Florida. Last year, it was the Atlanta Braves. My mom and I went to one of those games, and we actually saw the Cubbies get their ass kicked by the Atlanta Braves. Just stating the fact there. And then the year before that was the St. Louis Cardinals, and the year before that was the Red Sox, and yada, yada, yada. Well, it is my happiness of pleasure to let you guys know that the final 2 games of this year Chicago Cub spring training will be against the Bronx Bombers from the AL East, the New York Yankees. Captain America Aaron Judge and the Bronx Bombers guys will come to Sloan Park to end their spring training because they will begin the 2026 MLB regular season on March 25th at Oracle Park in San Francisco, California. And former Chicago Cub Cody Bellinger will hopefully play in one of those 2-game series, the former Chicago Cub guys. But yeah, guys, spring training will end on a great note for the Cubbies. They will take on the New York Yankees, and then later in the year, the New York Yankees will come to Wrigley Field. So the Yankees and the Cubs will play 3 games at Wrigley Field in the summer, and they will play 2 games at Sloan Park to end spring training. Although Aaron Judge will be in Arizona before then because he will be playing for Team USA in the upcoming 2026 World Baseball Classic. But you know what, guys? Just to know that the final 2 games of the Chicago Cubs in spring training is against the Bronx Bombers, the Yankees, guys. That's going to be at least 2 spring training games you guys will not want to miss. But I want to get you guys' input on that. I know MLB, they are the ones that make the schedule. They're the ones, that make the opponents and yada, yada, yada. So I do want to get you guys' input on it. So what do you guys think? To see a 2-game series at Wrigley Field between the Bronx Bombers of the Yankees and the Chicago Cubs. Let me know, guys, what you think of all of that down below in the comment section, guys. But yeah, it's going to be really great. I think to see the Yankees Cubs to end spring training in 2026 is going to be literally magnificent. I think it'll be better than seeing the Braves and the Cubs to end spring training last year. So yeah, definitely let me know, guys. Oh, the 2 games against the Yankees at Sloan Park, they are both day games. But there's not really a lot of night games in spring training. But I do want to get your guys' input on it, on what you guys think of the Yankees coming to Sloan Park. Again, it will be, I believe, the very first time that the Yankees actually go to Sloan Park. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it is the first time. And what better way to end spring training than that? Yankees Cubs at Sloan Park. All right, Cub Nation, that is all I have for you guys on tonight in this episode of Cubs Baseball with Rod Knipe right here on YouTube. As always, if you like the video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and that beautiful like. Make sure you subscribe down below if you guys are watching and you are not a subscriber, guys. Other than that, guys, we are one day closer to spring training. And Rocky wants to come in and say hi. You want to say hi, Rocky? You want to say hi? I think everyone would love to say hi to you. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get you in the shot here. Rocky wants lovings. He wants to play ball. It's almost 8 o'clock at night, and I think he wants to play ball. But wave, say hi. Hi. Yeah. Hi. My buddy. Wrigley's busy doing something else. Maybe stealing some water. Maybe eating my steak. That's what Wrigley may be doing. But Rocky wants to come in and say hi. All right. So, yeah, guys, other than that, guys, have a great rest of your Tuesday night and your Wednesday Eve. If there's anything else you guys want me to talk about on the channel, make sure you leave it down below in the comment section. But other than that, have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you all in the next episode. And as always, go Cubs go.